how do I do a command line or API or use the API to migrate configuration? This is very useful in, you remember that earlier configuration matrix where we don't have support for certain deployments, or you want to redeploy and reevaluate how you're doing security and the firewall rule base and all of that for the customer, but you do want to move certain things like address objects and the rest, so you're not spending all your time developing carpal tunnel and doing it all by hand. This is where you can use the command line and API to really expedite how you're doing things. So let me get out of here, jump back into the device, and I'll bring up my devices here. So this is an NSV200. It's one of the virtual appliances we had on Gen 6. I'm SSH'd into it. So this is the command line. I can do commands like show current config, which will output all of the configuration. I can see, keep going down and look at it. Or I can do more specific types of commands, show address objects, IPv4. I can see all the IPv4 address objects, or maybe I want to see only the IPv4 network objects here that show me all of my objects. So you can see a bunch of Office 365 networks I had created, and I can take this text, copy it. One thing that I will caution you on is this universally unique identifier is a read-only command in the command line. So you do need to remove that line. So you can paste it into something like Notepad++, do a replace. So we don't want to replace that, but we want to replace any lines that has UUID inside of it. And then we want to remove the line completely. So we can do something like a r/r/n. Click up here. And we're going to replace it with blank. So you can go ahead and replace all. There you go. There's my text. Go to the new device, go into configure, and basically paste that in. And then I can see the pending configuration. There it is, and I can commit it once I'm ready here. So I could go ahead and commit. There you go. Those objects are on the device now, and you can do that for pretty much everything in the command line. This would give you a level of automation. You could script things like this as well, and push objects to devices very easily without having to again go to the UI and manually click on a bunch of things and keep typing it in. So this copy paste capability is very nice to have, especially when moving things like objects. And the command line will give you the flexibility to basically do exactly that, copy paste and push to the new device. Again, just need to paste it in and you're good to go. Now, from an API perspective, which is something that a lot of people aren't either using or aware of today, I do want to highlight that anything that is a Gen 7, any Gen 7 device, basically everything you do in it is an API. Now, for Gen 6 devices, that was not the case, and it had a more limited API functionality, but it supported all of the major tasks and basic things that you needed to do. And to get familiar with the API, I usually recommend people use something like Postman as an application, look through our API documentation, and then they can use this to learn a little bit more about it. So I've created an API call here to authentication with my password, right? I've enabled the basic API capabilities on this device as well. So that's a prerequisite. Let me just show you where that setting is on both Gen 6 and Gen 7 here. So if you enable this right here, basic access authentication over HTTP, and you enable SonicWall API, that'll allow you to use within Postman the basic auth functionality, put in the password, and basically use that to authenticate. For Gen 7, it's in the same vein, just on a slightly different section of the user interface over here. So let me go to device, administration, audit. So you'd enable SonicWall API. You would enable this as well over here, and then you'd be able to use the API to authenticate. So using the API, you'd set up all of the right headers, and you can just click send the request. There it goes. I got a return that I've been authenticated. And then I have another API here that's a get. A get means just I want to pull data, and I'm getting all of the FQDN address objects. This is pulling. There is my FQDN address objects, which I'm going to go to raw mode, and I'm going to copy all of this stuff over here. And once I'm done here, I can delete my authentication as well. Now for SonicWall 7, slightly different way of doing things. For example, you do need to put in the override true because we're using token-based authentication there, but you can authenticate to the Gen 7 device. There you go. Success, full admin. I can go over here and see what there is currently from a FQDN object perspective. So there's two FQDN objects, Sentinel in my office. And then if I decide I want to push something here, I can go to post, go to the body, and paste that raw text that I copied over for these three FQDN objects. Click send. Oh, it looks like I got preempted by NSM, so I'm just gonna authenticate again. There you go. And I'm gonna send this again. There you go. So I've got that configuration, and I need to commit it again. So same concept. I can see the pending configuration here, and now I can push the pending configuration, changes made. And if I get this again, I can see that those three objects that I had pushed are now on the device. Now, again, when I stress that Gen 7, everything's an API, even if it's not in our documentation, you can browse through the UI and developer tools and find documentation around things. For example, I found a way to pull the active VPN tunnels. So you can easily figure out what you need to do on Gen 7 to pull the right information from the box. You should be able to pull absolutely anything as far as I'm concerned because everything is an API. So once I'm done here, I'll always delete my authentication and off I go. So that's just an example of using the API or command line to automate your life. Now, I want to stress one more thing. Postman is very nice because if you want to convert this to code, you can actually see, the curl version of this command. You can see the Python requests field, so you'd be able to create your own playbooks and scripts and so on and so forth that allow you to make your operations more efficient when you're deploying, migrating config, etc.